But I want to get back to the cost issue just for a moment, and want to ask you both. I appreciate your comments, Chancellor, about don't assume this is a cheap way to learn, and there are other costs. However, there are, on the other side of the ledger, some savings. Generally speaking, in the public and private sector, are tuition rates the same as traditional learning, or are there some major savings to be had?
Thanks, Larry. Chair Huffman, Representative, that's an excellent question. And if you look nationally, what you will find is a baseline or a generality is that tuition remains the same, but very frequently institutions apply a surtax for online instruction. And that is very common nationally. It is true for some of our institutions within the OUS. And the reason for that surcharge, which sometimes is a flat fee per course, and in other instances can be a per credit hour surcharge, which is more common within our system, is that we have not had a dedicated strategic investment by the state in distance education to basically get going with startup costs. So in order to buy the technology platforms, the learning management systems that go along with those platforms, the hardware, the training facilities, et cetera, our campuses have had to rely, many of our campuses have had to rely on a surcharge for those students. Now, those surcharges are not without their controversy, as you might well imagine. And as we look at higher costs for education, we worry about those. We have not seen any decline in demand that goes along with those surcharges, which has been an interesting thing to observe. And we believe that in part it's because of the efficiencies that the students gain alongside with those distance options. So for instance, while at Portland State, again, a non-traditional student body, many students in talking with me about paying that additional cost would say, well, on the backside of that, I don't have to drive downtown every single day. I don't have to hunt for parking on the Portland State campus or in Byron's, and don't have to deal with maybe the same child care costs or elder care costs. So we do hear from a number, particularly of non-traditional students, that the cost that they bear is offset by other kinds of financial savings.
Vice Chair Huffman and Representative Gillum, there are two major areas where there are cost reductions for the delivery of the online courses. One of those is simply the fact that our colleges generally, as you know, have a discounting form of tuition for those who are less capable of paying the tuition. So we don't discount typically on those online courses, so their rack rate value is much closer to the net price on the campus. But so it's probably somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a course, and if you do the math on that, you'll see that that's a cheaper price. The second place goes exactly to what we were talking about before on the related services. You don't have the on-campus health care, you don't have on-campus security system, you don't have athletic costs, you don't have those different things that are not accruing to the benefit of the online students.
Sure.
During our IFS meeting last weekend in beautiful LeGrand, my colleagues raised issues concerning the differential cost of online versus on-campus classes. In order to fund the technological initiatives and faculty support that serve as the bedrock of effective online education, students have, in several instances, been forced to shoulder a significant financial burden as an institution ramps up its online presence. Although there is some limited external funding to be pursued, I wonder whether Oregon's public universities may be losing their comparative cost advantage to for-profit institutions, MOOCs, and public institutions in other states. While I'm keenly aware of the financial challenges confronting the future of higher education in Oregon, IFS would like for you to contemplate whether having our online students burdened with additional debt in the name of access makes sense.
Jeff, can I just jump in for a moment? And what is the premium that students pay for doing an online class? What is the extra fee that they pay at Eastern? And how does that, is it uniform among the 7 universities, or it's completely different?
Thank you, Chair Denbrough, for your question. A recent initiative by President Davis has attempted to minimize the differential cost between the online and on-campus courses, where for our particular campus, it's just about the same. My understanding, a recent example of the differential cost would be borne at Portland State University, where students had to pay, I believe it's $60 per additional credit hour to underwrite some technological initiatives in support of online education. So it's actually, Representative Denbrough, it's all across the board with regard to the difference.
And that was at Portland State, that was $60 per credit, so
yes, and
about $250 more a course?
Yes, and they ended up raising over $2 million, which was recently dispersed by the Provost Office for Technological Initiatives all over campus.